Hey everyone, this is Joshua Orro of Mustang Prince Orro Reports. Welcome everyone. As you can probably tell from the opening logo earlier, that means today's review is going to be something from the Little Mermaid franchise, which happens to be one of my favorite franchises from the Walt Disney Library. For those who don't know, The Little Mermaid is one of Disney's finest pieces of work that started the Disney Renaissance. In that film, Princess Ariel is dissatisfied with life under the sea and longs to be with the humans above the surface. She's often caught in arguments with her father over the human world. After she rescues and falls in love with Prince Eric, she makes a deal with Ursula, the sea witch, to become human in exchange for her voice. Afterwards, Ariel has 3 days to get Eric to kiss her or become Ursula's property. Now, my thoughts on this movie: this is a really spectacular film. It has some of the greatest songs ever written, period, by Alan Menken and Howard Ashman. And the characters are all memorable and funny, and, well, some scenes are beautiful and colorful and dark at times. And since this movie is the start of the Disney Renaissance, this film deserves a rating of 100%. In 1992, Disney Television premiered the Little Mermaid television series on TV. The show is set before the events of the first movie and follows Ariel's adventures as a mermaid still living under the sea with her father, Sebastian, and Flounder. Various episodes highlight her relationship with her friends and her sister and her family, and usually involve Ariel foiling the attempts of various enemies and ill-harmed enemies that still intend harm to her or her entire kingdom. And some of the other episodes do contain musical segments, including original songs written for the show. Plus, it even introduced a few new memorable characters, such as Urchin, Pearl, Gabriella, Ollie, Simon, Stormy, and others. My rating: 100%. Then, on September 19th, 2000, a day before my 10th birthday, a sequel was made. The Little Mermaid 2: Return to the Sea. Set a year after the first movie, Morgana, the sister of Ursula, almost steals baby Melody from her parents Ariel and Eric. In order to protect Melody, she's told never to enter the ocean. But by her 12th birthday, she's been swimming there for years. She discovers a magic locket that was to be her christening gift, which makes her visible to Morgana. Morgana tempts her by offering her fondest wish to make her into a mermaid. However, in order to remain as one, she'll have to steal the magic trident from her grandfather, King Triton. Along the way, she joins up with a penguin named Tip and Dash, a walrus. When she returns with the trident, Morgana's evil nature is revealed, and there begins a massive battle of good and evil. Now, my thoughts on this movie: well, it may have been the first movie in reverse, but I liked how the movie built up with Melody as its main character. And Ariel's role as a mom really fits it, though. The songs are really beautiful, and the new characters were funny, and the ending climax was really epic. This film, in my eyes, deserves a 95%. Then in 2006, I've been hearing news that Disney Toon Studios would have a prequel to Little Mermaid in the works. My reaction: okay, maybe this film could answer some questions that were never answered in the first film. And I was also wondering, what kind of story would they tell in this new prequel? Well, then it finally, in 2008, when I bought this film from my local Blockbuster store, it surprised me. However, unfortunately, there were some bad news that ensued after it released, since Disney Toon Studios announced that this film would be their last prequel/sequel made by them before the announcement of no more sequels, and went on to make their own spin-offs and original films. So, I guess it's time to get started. Released a DVD on August 26, 2008. The movie is The Little Mermaid: Ariel's Beginning. So let's get started. After the death of their beloved Queen Athena, music is forever banned from the kingdom of Atlantica. 10 years later, Princess Ariel discovers an underground music club hosted by Sebastian and sets off on a daring adventure to bring music back to Atlantica. So, how was this movie? Well, I enjoyed it. I mean, it's almost like a mix of Sound of Music and Footloose, in a way. I mean, sure, this prequel isn't better than the first film or its sequel. However, there were some parts that did feel emotional, and as I suspected, like many prequels that I've seen before, a lot of things that happened in this film did answer a lot of questions that weren't answered in the first movie. Like, for example, why did King Triton hate humans or forbid merpeople from ever surfacing? Or what made Sebastian the court composer? And there were also many others that were answered too, but I might be getting ahead of myself. I won't ask all of them. However, there was one question that was still not answered in the first... That was not answered. Why was Ursula banished again? I mean, like, mostly everyone's been saying that Ursula was banished just because she would use dark magic. But I was kind of expecting they would explain a clearer answer in this film. But turns out they didn't. Guess we'll never know anytime soon. But let's move on to Mustang Notes to find out what happened during behind the scenes. The film's working title was The Little Mermaid 3, and it was originally scheduled for a mid-2007 release. When John Lasseter took over Disney Animation, more resources were spent on completing Cinderella 3: A Twist in Time, and attention only returned to this film in July 2006 after the wrap-up of Cinderella 3. Now, since this is a Little Mermaid movie, that also means it's a musical. And to be honest, there are not that many songs in this movie, and a lot of them do get a reprise. The first song that's sung in the movie is known as Athena's Song, which is sung by Ariel's mother, and it's kind of like a lullaby in a way. And the second song that's sung is the Villain's Song, Just One Mistake, sung by Marina Del Rey. It's almost like her plotting to try to do whatever she can to get Sebastian's job because of her hatred towards him. And the third song that's in there is Jump in the Line, which, it's not an original song for the movie, but it is still a very cool Jamaican song, and I like the fact that it's sung by Sebastian. And the other song that's sung is I Remember, which is sung by Ariel, which is kind of a little mixed with Athena's song throughout the lyrics. And it did make me shed a tear when I heard it. As for the animation, it's surprisingly great. I mean, it's Disney Toon Studios after all. I mean, ever since The Lion King 2: Simba's Pride, Disney Toon Studios has been perfectionist, but still, Walt Disney Animation Studios can never be topped, especially with Pixar's works being great as well. I mean, if you look at this movie, the way Disney Toon Studios did it is somehow a bit cleaner than the first two films. And also, there is a little bit of CGI, especially with Queen Athena's music box. Now for the characters and the voice actors who brought them to life. But now I must warn you that a few of them do provide two voices apiece at times. Our main heroine, Princess Ariel, is once again voiced by my favorite voice actress, Jodie Benson, who recently voiced Queen Emmeline and Ariel in Sophia I: The Floating Palace. Now, as for Ariel herself, her role in this film is similar yet different from the first movie. I mean, she's still the same headstrong, fun-loving teenager she mostly is in the first film, but the only difference is she doesn't go to the surface as often as she used to. But however, her resemblance to her late mom does make sense for this franchise. Next in line is Sebastian, my favorite character in the Little Mermaid franchise, voiced by Samuel E. Wright. Now, the reason why I said Sebastian is one of my favorite characters in the Little Mermaid franchise is not just because he's a great supporting star or the fact that he's a great singer, but he's also very, well, funny at times in the franchise. As for his role in this movie, I mean, like, the fact that he's the leader of the Catfish Club, I mean, like, that seems really cool. In fact, during one part of the film, I do like the way he disguises Claw like a hat during his big entrance at times. And the way he sings Shake Sonora, like I said before, is really awesome and cool. Kind of fits his style. Flounder in this movie is played by Parker Goris, who prior to the movie voiced Flounder in Kingdom Hearts 2. Now, as for Flounder's role in this film, I mean, he's kind of a little bit different than he used to be. Like, he's not as, scared as he used to be in the first film or in the TV show. Oh, speaking of the TV show, his meeting with Ariel in this film kind of differs from this scene right over here. Plus, I do like the fact that Flounder has more guts than he used to have in the two films, and the fact that they give him more musical numbers to sing, not counting a song that he sang in the Broadway musical. Still the same lovable guppy nonetheless. And now, to move on to Ariel's 6 sisters. Tara Strong, who was in The Little Mermaid 2 as Melody, voices Andrina and Adela. Great Eliza provides the voices for Arista and Aquata. Jennifer Hale, most famous for playing Cinderella in the 2 sequels, and Sam from Totally Spies, provides the voice for Alana. And lastly, Carrie Walgreen, who was Mindy Parker in Bolt, voices Atina, the oldest of the 6 sisters, and to me, does seem to stick out the most out of the sisters. Now, if you watch the movie, you'll see that the sisters do have more build-up in this film and development, unlike the first film, since they barely did anything but sing and, gossip about Ariel. And you can also notice that each of them has a different personality in this film, like Adela being boy crazy, Atina being more responsible, Alana being fashion crazy, or Aquata hesitant to dance, and many more. Unfortunately, Kenneth Mars did not return to voice King Triton, due to the fact that he was unable to show up for the recording because of his illness, which 4 years later Mars passed away from pancreatic cancer on February 12, 2011 at the age of 75. So instead, in this film, he was provided for veteran voice actor Jim Cummings. However, that's not the only character he voices in this film, but I'll get to him later. Now, about King Triton, in this film, he's more like this typical person who is like the mix between Captain Von Trapp from Sound of Music and Reverend Moore from Footloose. It's like how he's been feeling throughout the whole film. He's been under a really strict attitude of the fact that he lost his wife because of pirates. And, even though I did kind of feel annoyed by his strict attitude and, I did sometimes feel sympathy for what he's been through. And now to move on to the new characters in this movie. Now, let's start with Ariel's late mother, voiced by Lorelei Hale Butters. With Queen Athena, she may be the smallest, the character with the smallest role in this film. But however, even though she only appears in the beginning of the film, she is talked about a lot. Ariel has been saying like certain parts where what Athena would have wanted, or what it was like when Athena was there. Also, there are some flashbacks that do show Athena, like with Ariel and her sisters as toddlers. But also her backstory and what happened to Athena really did make me shed a tear. And it is really sad when you think about it. And now, to talk about the villain. Marina Del Rey, voiced by Mrs. Gump herself, Sally Field. She's not just the main villain of this film, but she's also the Daughters of Triton's governess in this film. But in this film, she's not much of a threat to Ariel or her sisters. She's more of a threat to Sebastian due to the fact that she's jealous of Sebastian's position as chief of staff. Plus, what I think about Marina, she's like the kind of person that would give, like Fraulein Maria from Sound of Music, a bad name. And in a way, she is a typical fashion disaster. Even her electric eels are really frightening near the end of the movie. Marina's sidekick, Benjamin the Manatee, is voiced by veteran voice actor Jeff Bennett. Now, as for what I think of the Manatee, he's not as evil as Marina. Sometimes he does try to relax her with massaging her or giving her manicures and such. And also, he has responsibilities of feeding Marina's eels, even though he refuses to unlock their cage. And also the fact that he does keep Marina company while she's in jail at the end of the movie is also, well, nice as well. Now, my favorite characters in the movie would happen to be, without a doubt, the Catfish Club Band. Kevin Michael Richardson as Ray Ray, the guitar-playing Manta Ray, and Cheeks, the saxophone-playing Pufferfish. Jim Cummings also plays Shell Bow the Turtle, who plays the drums in this film. And lastly, Rob Paulsen, who voiced Eric in The Little Mermaid 2, provides the voice for Ink Spot, the piano-playing octopus, and also Swifty, the fast-talking fish in this movie. And now to move on to my final words of this movie. Above all, The Little Mermaid Ariel's Beginning is an interesting prequel. The animation is beautiful, the story is emotional, the music by Jim Dooley is surprisingly great, and the songs are absolutely toe-tapping and makes you feel like dancing. Even though not all the questions from the first movie are answered here, I still recommend all fans of The Little Mermaid to check this movie out. I give this film a rating of 88%. Well, that's all for now, people. What I plan for my next blog? Well, you'll see, and it will be something very, very interesting. Be sure to join me next time. Mustang Power!